A pleasant good evening from the tri-state area, where we bring you an expansion club clash that is a first of its kind. It is the Cosmos hosting AC Boise from Paterson, New Jersey. We say hello and welcome at Hinchliffe Stadium. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action here tonight from northern New Jersey. Between a pair of sides on opposite ends of the League One spectrum, you take your look at the current state of the League One table presented by Capelli Sport. AC Boise 2 points above the playoff line, within striking distance of the top four if they can get all 3 points here. But on the opposite end of things, New York Cosmos currently sit in the league's basement, 15 points off postseason pace entering the weekend. They need points, and they need them in a hurry if they are to enter the playoff discussion. And in the month of July, it's been a mixed bag of results at home. A side that suffered a brutal defeat against Greenville Triumph at home before bouncing back against FC Naples, and then a scoreless draw last weekend against Corpus Christi. The lone constant, though, is they've struggled to score during this stretch. Just one goal. That was the Siobhan Marsh winner against FC Naples on July 8th. And it is a side generally of late that has struggled to find the back of the net. In fact, they enter in the midst of a 200-plus minute goal drought, and Sebastian Guenzati is a player that maybe can counteract that. 4 goals to his name in league play this season, and we already know about his proven pedigree over nearly a decade prior in USL Championship. The onus will fall on the 35-year-old captain to make a difference. Meanwhile, for AC Boise, they're in flying form at the moment. 4 wins in the last 5 across all competitions, and they picked up some massive victories, including that come-from-behind victory over Portland Hearts of Pine last weekend following the triumph over Sacramento Republic in the Brinks Tires USL Cup. It is a squad that has remained very tight at the back, but also one that has flashed its goal-scoring medal when necessary. All in all, one of the more balanced sides in the division beginning to show their teeth. And a big part of the recent success is this man, Tumi Mo Shaban, a quartet of goals and goal contributions in back-to-back contests entering this evening, including the assist on Thomas Among's dramatic winner against Portland Hearts of Pine last Friday night. He is a player that Nate Miller raves about and is very familiar with. This is his 3rd stint under Nate Miller's tutelage. Well, we are just about ready to get everything underway here from Hinchliffe Stadium, a first ever meeting between the Cosmos and AC Boise. Stick with us, lineups and kickoff when we return.
I'm Bree and I am Ayan.
नाम कलीम जान है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ayan Bank.
I'm Tajinder Kaur. ਅਸੀਂ Ayan Bank ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
I'm Taiwan and I am Ayan.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ayan Bank.
Eu sou Ayan Bank.
Ja jestem Ayan Bank.
I am Ayan.
Welcome back to Paterson, New Jersey, where we're just about set for this first ever meeting between the Cosmos and AC Boise here at Hinchliffe Stadium. And now it's time for our starting lineups presented by Ayan Bank. You look at the Cosmos' 11, and it's just 3 changes from Wednesday night's brutal defeat against Westchester. The big ones of note on the flanks, Lamine Jauna and Siobhan Marsh, both fit enough to start. Will Noakar also returns to the squad at right back. And then on the opposite end of things for AC Boise, it is just one change from the victory over Portland Hearts of Pine. That comes on the front line. Blake Bodley makes his first start in a couple months in place of Dennis Kostishin, who is on the bench this evening. The same back three and wing backs as per usual under Nate Miller. Just about ready to get everything underway here from Hinchliffe Stadium. It is AC Boise looking to continue its charge up the League One table. They are in their third kits, the purple unis from right to left on your screen, the Cosmos in their classic home greens from left to right. A pair of sides in polar opposite form. Will the trends continue, or will the Cosmos buck the trend and spring a surprise? We are underway here from Patterson, and for the first time, Boise and the Cosmos square off on a football pitch. Sam Goldfarb, thanking you for joining us here at Hinchliffe Stadium. It is a Cosmos squad that has struggled on both ends of the pitch all season. The big issue of note, though, their lack of attacking prowess. A squad that has scored just one goal across their last 4 league matches. It's the Boise bunch that has emerged as one of the more balanced outfits in the division. Talking to Davide Corti in the interim between Wednesday night's 3-0 defeat at Westchester and tonight, he spoke about how frustrating that fixture was. His side conceding early, then squandering 2 major chances throughout the first half to level the scoreline, and ultimately picked apart twice on the counterattack in the final 15 minutes, and a fixture and a result that really did not flatter them in any way, shape, or form. He just said that he feels emphasis on defensive solidity has been solid, but now it's about translating that into actual productive counterattacks on the other end. It's been the big thing eluding them, a goal drought that has lasted 210 plus minutes entering the evening. There's Mayaka for Boise. Squirts this wide. First touch for Jonathan Ricketts, who's emerged as one of the more dynamic wingbacks in the division. And this is Moon. Finally has it taken off his toes. On the opposite end of things, it is a Boise side that, as we spotlighted off the top, 4 wins in the last 5 across all comps. Squad that pulled off the thrilling come-from-behind victory against Portland last Friday night on national television. And that was a performance that, even before falling behind in that game, was one of the more dominant performances of the season. And Nate Miller mentioned how proud he was of his side to be able to turn around the late second half deficit through Blake Bodley's equalizer and then Thomas Among's dramatic winner with the final kick of the fixture. He said that there have been so many fixtures this year where they've been on the front foot and haven't been able to puncture teams and claim all 3 points. And last Friday night represented a major step forward in that regard. Despite the fact that the fixture looked like it was swinging against them, they found a way and even overcame late refereeing controversy with a Among tally that was wrongfully disallowed, where they finally found that winner. There's Will Noaker. Welcome return to the fold for him. Now Jauna has battled through minor muscular issues, but that was good to start. Gasso. Bodley. This is Nick Moon. One of the many players that is familiar with Nate Miller's leadership. Loses out to Spengler here, and he's the standout for Cosmos. He's fouled on the break. An early set piece for the home side. He is the dynamo, Ajmer Spengler, top 10 in the league in goals, assists, and chances created. And you see why. On the break, in the open fields when he's most dangerous, Nick Moon just comes from behind and catches him as he's looking to navigate through traffic. He is the head of the snake of sorts for this Cosmos bunch. 25 years old, it seems he has a very promising career ahead of him. Chavez. Spengler looking over the top to Jauna. And Jake Krull wins that foot race. Moshaban in tremendous form of late. This is Ricketts. Among. Not what he envisioned on the Travella pass forward. Spengler looks the other way, but John is well off the pace there. It is a Boise side that likes to play expansive football, and you see them building out of the back in that three-back setup. Nate Miller's mentioned, though, when they go away from home, there's had to be alterations to the approach because of the many variables at play, different playing surfaces, different pitch dimensions as well. And a couple weeks ago, at Westchester, they played one of their more defense-oriented matches of the year, won 1-0 in a professional showing. Said in this fixture they hope to be a little more on the front foot than that, but they will take fewer risks in the build-out and not leave themselves as exposed to the counter. This is Ricketts pushing forward. Cross deflected away at the source. Dengler. Fresh off what Nate Miller says was one of his best games in possession of the season last Friday night. It was a game in which he hardly put a foot wrong against Portland. Among plays in this cross. There's no one there in the Boise purples to greet it. It's an errant header there from Krull. Spengler space. Mayaka reads that to perfection. Spengler, cleverly done. Lukovic left it dangling. Not played on the same wavelength as Tumi Moshaban on that occasion. Boise fans will be glad to see Blake Bodley back in the 11, someone who dealt with a lower body injury that cost him 5 matches from mid-June through early July. Finally returned in the dying embers of their Prinks Tires USL Cup finale a couple weeks ago against Sacramento Republic, and has been a substitute the last 2 matches, but back in the 11 for the first time since early June, and that is a very welcome sight for Boise supporters. Someone who is a native lad, born in Eagle, Idaho, which is not far from downtown Boise. And of course, plenty of experience under Nate Miller during his time with San Diego Loyal, where he was one of the standout attacking presences for them in USL Championship. It's a Boise squad that has invested heavily in bringing in championship-level talents. And as it's gelled, on their day, they look to be one of the more comprehensive units in USL League One. Here's Lukovic. Clips this towards Guenzati. A flick-on header that nearly reached Siobhan Marsh. It's recycled well by Mendonca. Spengler walks it into the mix, just chested back to the goalkeeper Jonathan Cleaver. Was some goalkeeping controversy early in the season for Nate Miller's side. Joseph Ndema began the year as the go-to option out of Clemson and then committed a series of errors that effectively led to Nate Miller giving Cleaver the opportunity. And Cleaver has not let it go since. It's now his 14th consecutive league start. Someone who currently ranks in the top 3 in the league in clean sheets with 5. While he's still gone through his growing pains, Nate Miller's been satisfied enough with his displays, especially recently. Back-to-back league clean sheets entering the night's festivities. Marsh. Back in the lineup after missing a pair of fixtures and driving on. It's an overlapping run from Morabito. And Dangler's there to cut out the cross. You already see the match of cat and mouse brewing. Boise looking to dominate the ball. Cosmos looking to catch them out on the counter, as they have done for the bulk of this month. So much focus on shoring up a back line that's conceded the most goals in the league. Now it's just about those attacking transition moments. For those of you just joining us, we welcome you into Hinchliff Stadium in Paterson, New Jersey. Sam Goldfarb taking you through this first ever battle of expansion clubs between the New York Cosmos and AC Boise. It's a Cosmos side desperately craving victory, but Boise in flying form, and that's a well-weighted cross that ran all the way through to the back post. And Tristan Stefani is rather fortunate. Jonathan Ricketts wasn't a couple footsteps faster to that. You're seeing the impact Blake Bodley can have in a more advanced position, because that cross had plenty of shape to it, and it was in a very menacing position. Lukovic, one of the new additions to this Cosmos roster this month. Someone who Davide Corti says has the ability to break lines and actually drive forward out of that holding midfield pivot. That's something he feels his squad has lacked, especially when they play against the ball for as long as they have. They need someone who can drive through pressure. I believe the Gonzaga University product can do just that. Kroll. There's Moon. He scored in 4 of his last 8 appearances across all competitions. Someone who Nate Miller feels is at his best in that left wing back position. It's a big part of the reason they push Bodley further forward. On the subject, here is Blake Bodley linking up with Moon. It's a low cross in. Chavez gets there. Mayaka runs it down though. Kroll. Moon once more. Pass Chown up. This cross with more menace to it. Anderson Holt there is first though. So much emphasis on the counterattack both ways entering tonight's match. Of course, the Cosmos, they feel that's their primary avenue for goals, and it is a Cosmos side that has been starved of them lately. Just 17 league goals across their first 16 matches. That is a number that ranks joint 14th of 17 teams in the league. Meanwhile, AC Boise, for all of their possessional dominance, sometimes they've shown vulnerability on the break. And they understand that they cannot take a Cosmos side lightly that will prioritize absorbing pressure and countering. People are saying that any road fixture is difficult, and we cannot afford to take anyone for granted. Into this fixture with a clearly constructed game model and an attempt to dominate the game without leaving themselves exposed. Moon. Pass Noaker and upended. The lead referee, though, says it was one clean lead. Here's Noaker once more. Looks for Chauna, sprinting in behind. Held up his run too soon for Cosmos' liking on that occasion. Dengler. Moon. Well, fans, watch the USL on ESPN2 August 1st for a championship battle of powerhouse teams from the Eastern Conference. First place Tampa Bay Rowdies aim to keep the top spot with a win over the reigning Players' Shield winners Louisville City FC. Saturday, August 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Ricketts. Plenty of purple shirts in support, and he switches the play to Moon. Moon looking for an angle to the byline. And ultimately, it's rather tame for Tristan Stefani. You have to figure that the 23-year-old Fordham product Stefani will be under it for large spells, and it's just a question of how he handles the chances that come his way. He's a big body, Tristan Stefani. Someone who has all the raw tools to be a successful goalkeeper at 6'4". Question is, can he translate that to consistent success? Someone who posts just a 50% save rate, but his last few matches, even the Westchester match, Davide Corti has felt positively about his performances. Potential's been on full display, especially in that Prince Tires USL Cup finale at Portland Hearts of Pine, in which he saved 7 of the 8 shots he faced. Mayaka. Moon, a very involved presence in the build early on. This is Casso, just surrounded by green shirts. And Jauna charging forward for New York. Looking to turn away from Krul and instead gets himself boxed into a corner. There's your look at a player that Nate Miller says is the best center back in USL League One, Jake Dengler. Says it's not just his ability to lock up shop in the box without the ball and command the heart of his back three. It's also his ability to progress the ball. He says that of all of the center backs he's worked with, regardless of level, be it his time in MLS with Real Salt Lake or his time in USL Championship, he feels Jake Dengler is one of the best distributors of the ball from center back he's ever worked with. And that's high praise for a 27-year-old who he feels is now hitting the next step of his decorated USL League One career. Krul sprays this long. Here's Jonathan Ricketts. Yarrow. Mayaka. Moves around Spengler. Krul. This is Nick Moon. Bodily. Muscled off it by Chavez. And out for the match's first corner. There's a Boise side that has scored 3 of its 25 league goals from set pieces. Not necessarily a squad known for its corner kick prowess. It is one with size, especially across the back in the form of Dangler and Kroll. It's Dominic Gasso who stands over it. Marks it in with in-swing. It's flicked along, just wide. Jonathan Ricketts got his head to it first, and it took a deflection out for another corner. That is a routine that Davide Corti will be less than pleased with. Ricketts unattended for a free header. Take two from Gasso. This one to the back post. It's headed on and headed well wide. No trouble for Stefani. Well, fans, Ion Bank, trusted, local, and always on your team. Whatever your personal or business banking goals, we're here to help you reach them. Discover the power of community banking and see what Ion Bank can do for you. IonBank.com. 20 minutes gone here in Patterson, New Jersey. Sam Goldfarb taking you through this one. It is AC Boise visiting the Cosmos. Moshe Bon slips in bodily. It's a deflected effort and appeals for handball waved away. It's the first major moment you can put a pin in this one. Wenzati forced off it by Moon. First time you've seen the striker come deep to collect. Ricketts. Moshe Bon. Seen his production skyrocket over the last two league fixtures. Gasso. Among. In the midst of tremendous form himself. Moon. Past Noaker. Driving through traffic. Lost his footing, but there was nothing really in that challenge. Now Gasso. It is a composed, dominant performance. Now you're just looking for the cutting edge if you're Nate Miller. So many numbers behind the ball. Davide Corti, in many regards, has prioritized that solidity after his team was, frankly, exploited at the back in the first 3 months of the year. Managed to lock up shop well, as you see Jauna here trying to wrestle his way free from Moon, and ultimately Moon penalized for that tackle. It is a Cosmos side, though, that has, with the exception of the Westchester match Wednesday, managed decently defensively. Back-to-back home fixtures in which they've kept clean sheets. They have yet to turn that defensive solidity into any proven counterattacks of note, and the goal drought has now eclipsed 230 minutes across league play. And Mayaka snatches this back upfield. Siobhan Marsh is in for the match's first yellow card. So the League One veteran who joined the club earlier in the month, given his first caution. Just loses the ball here and then tugs Mayaka down from behind. It's pretty textbook booking. You don't see him argue much when it's brandished his way either. He's the only player to score in the month of July in league play. In fact, he's the only player to score, period. Scored both of their goals across all comps. Someone who runs in behind well, according to Davide Corti, and he's looking for his wingers to be a little more proactive about running without the ball instead of looking for the ball to come to feet. Siobhan Marsh is the textbook example in that regard. Now they must deal with this set piece. It is Gasso. Plays it into the quarter of uncertainty. Donka runs it down. Noaker. Jauna It's a clever touch to Spangler, who slips in Sebastian Guinzotti. The first touches of the night for the 35-year-old. Jauna. Spangler in the pocket, and this is where he does damage. Spangler with space to shoot. Takes an awkward deflection, but Jonathan Cleaver reads it the entire way. And he passes his first test with flying colors. It's not a bad chance here. You see Spangler ride the challenge of Moon. It's just an awkward deflection. Could have gone anywhere. To Cleaver's credit, doesn't over-anticipate and just reads it to pounce on it relatively comfortably. There is the sign of the trouble they can offer if Boise overextends themselves. It's the risk that Nate Miller has talked about all week leading up to this. Of course, his side has had a full 8 nights to prepare for this ahead of a stretch where they play 3 games in the next 8 days. Nate Miller's mentioned he's challenged his side to make this a 9-point week. He feels that the extra rotation on the front 3 by moving bodily forward affords them the fresh legs there to make a difference. Here's Mayaka, the engine in midfield. Mo Shaban. It's still Tumi Mo Shaban, who clips it towards Moon, headed across the face, and not enough venom on it. They have been sailing wide anyways. Just see the trouble they can pose with the fluidity of this formation, though. Front 3 moves relatively seamlessly. Even Thomas Among, the listed number 9, is not shy about taking up a wide position or making a run in the channels. And this is textbook Nate Miller ball. You see Mo Shaban pick this up wide, then cut inside, and it's winger to wingback situation. With Moon in the right position, just doesn't head it properly. Here's tremendous link up the other way. It requires a defensive intervention the other direction. Slowly, we're picking up to breakneck pace here in Patterson. We're taking short. Spangler immediately surrounded. It's an errant back pass. Mendonca runs into trouble. Kroll finally can shepherd out of trouble. Holt. Gasso. Shaban chasing after this now. Lukovic doing well in retreat. Well, fans, you can watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Well, we approach the half-hour mark, and still nothing to separate the Cosmos and AC Boise in their first ever meeting. We see on the front foot, but they have yet to puncture this Cosmos back line, and there have been chances the other way. Marsh looking to queue up another for New York. Josh Yarrow defending that well. St. Louis City loanee. Lukovic. Driving forward for New York. Ricketts getting involved and winning the ball back. Our referee, Braden Frey, has set the tone. He is letting a lot slide in this opening half hour. Get the sense that more physical challenges are more encouraged in this one. Case in point right there. Jauna. Spangler. Lukovic from distance. Always wide, and Cleaver had it covered. First shot in Cosmos colors, though, for Frankie Lukovic, and it's not a bad one. He steps onto this, puts his laces through it. It's dipping with plenty of venom. Just was always going wide. And there's your first proper glance at the 25-year-old, a Millbrook, New York native. Spent the last 3 seasons, the first 3 of his career, in Australian semi-pro football with NWS Spirit FC. This is his first proper professional deal on a full-time basis, joining the club the same day Siobhan Marsh did earlier this month. Moshaban. Mayaka. Dengler. Drops this into the path of Moon and does so effectively. Cruel. Ricketts. Gasso. Headed on towards Mayaka. Has numbers in support. Moshaban on the turn. Ricketts. High arcing cross that Noaker reaches first. Run down by Cruel though. Now Moon. That's well done. Nick Moon! Necessary to intervention in the end. For now, the Cosmos remain defensively solid. Mayaka has his shot taken off his toes. And finally, the whistle sounds. The referee played advantage and immediately deemed he had to come back to that earlier foul on Lukovic. Mayaka. We've hit the 30-minute threshold. Still one-way traffic. Cosmos have kept Boise honest, though. And it's a common approach against Nate Miller-led teams. Opponents parking it in, forcing them to play in tight spaces. The odd thing about this Boise side, though, is they're pretty effective at breaking down low blocks, which, especially for a first-year expansion club that is so ball-dominant, that's a rare occurrence in this league. It's a squad that occasionally hasn't taken the sheer degree of chances they've created, and that's been a common thorn in Nate Miller's side, but the chance creation has always been there. Already tonight, you've seen moments where they've put themselves in threatening spots. Tristan Stefani's had a fair bit to weather. Well, fans, William Patterson University is proud to be the official university partner of the New York Cosmos. We're a powerhouse in business education and the #1 producer of MBAs in New Jersey. Explore our wide range of undergraduate and graduate programs at wpunj.edu. Wenzati. You've already seen Tristan Stefani involved early and often. There's been an active goalkeeping battle of sorts all season for the Cosmos. Stefani opened the year as the go-to option, but he battled his fair share of mistakes and troubles. So they turned to Derek Chan at one point. Derek Chan has suffered injury, so he's been out for the better part of the last couple months. And they turned to Javier Garcia, the former Texoma man who has set the league record in penalty saves in a single season and overall. But even he's dealt with his ups and downs. So they turned back to Stefani ahead of their Brinks Tires USL Cup finale on July 11th. Stefani impressed, and Davide Cortes stuck with him the 3 matches since. Said that, as we've spoken about, he has all the raw tools to be a quality goalkeeper in this league. It's just about producing that level of consistency that occasionally younger goalkeepers struggle with. Gasso, just beyond the reach of Blake Bodley. See the frustration building. Davide Cortes' men holding a stout defensive line. He is someone who's known for his high-level experience, particularly in the women's game. Spent time as the manager of AC Milan and most recently Sampdoria's women's side, but departed in November of 2024 and appointed in September of the following year. He's been tasked with building this squad from the ground up. And one of his signees in Noaker has just clattered into Blake Bodley on the near side. I'm talking to Davide Corti. There was some frustration early in the season. This was a squad that, at the beginning of the year, Median age at 23 years old, as you see the foul on Bodily once more from Noah Kerr. Nate Miller incensed on the touchline. Spoken about how in season they've made numerous moves to bring in more experienced players, the likes of Lamine Jonas, Siobhan Marsh, Frankie Lukovic, to add a layer of maturity to this group. Defensively, you've seen them reap the rewards for that. Nate Miller, meanwhile, has constructed this roster carefully from the ground up for AC Boise. He's known for his very clearly identifiable, ball-oriented style of play. Someone who's starting to produce results once more. Wherever he's gone, his sides have won. San Diego Loyal, one of the better sides in the West when he managed them. As the set piece comes in with in-swing and is collected by Tristan Stefani. When you talk to him, he's talked about, though, having to alter it based on context. Against more ball-dominant sides away from home, he's told his side to prioritize their defensive solidity and become a clean sheet team of sorts. Says that we have to win more games 1-0 on the road. At home, though, this is one of the sides that plays some of the most attractive and aesthetically pleasing football in the league. He's brought in so many players with previous experience under his leadership, like Mo Shaban, Thomas Among, and Blake Bodily, and a few others who were his disciples at San Diego Loyal. Is another free kick on the way for Boise. It is another chance for them to crowd the penalty area with purple shirts. Dominic Gasso once more stands over it. One of the breakout stars under Nate Miller's leadership this year. Not a bad ball. It's a header into the dirt. One that just goes wide. Thomas Among was in the center of things. He's no stranger to set piece goals. Of course, scored the winner off a set piece on last Friday night. It's a header that always was sailing into the turf, though, and it doesn't take the hop required to trouble Stefani. And he's someone Nate Miller's challenged to produce a touch more in front of goal. 3 goals across all comps. Last 2 matches more productive, though. Back-to-back games with a goal contribution. We already mentioned the dramatic winner on 90+10 last Friday night after having a previous would-be winner disallowed 9 minutes earlier. Someone that did score double-digit goals one season under Nate Miller's leadership in San Diego. That is cut back, but no one there in green to greet it. Nate Miller says he gives the guys he trusts a long leash, and Thomas Among is among that list, and recently he's been rewarded for that faith. Morabito. Mayaka. Among. Cruel. Never shy about joining the attack is Jake Cruel. He's a shape that can quickly become asymmetrical when Cruel ventures forward. Yarrow and Dengler like to stay at home a touch more. Both wingbacks, of course, incredibly forward-thinking and expansive. There's one of those in Ricketts. Mayaka. Ricketts runs into trouble. Spengler. Mendonca. Holt. Plenty of experience under his belt in League One. Last 2 years of his career with Union Omaha. Lukovic still down on the deck. It's a late challenge from Jonathan Ricketts. Nothing more in it, though. This stoppage gives us a chance to let you know that Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Business end of proceedings in this first half. See Boise still asking the questions. They have yet to pose a question that the Cosmos can't answer, though. Guenzati is clipped from behind. Dominic Gasso, the culprit. He's going for the ball here, but he gets it all wrong, and relatively innocent, but a foul nonetheless. No occur. Lukovic. Well done to bypass Mayaka, and now progressing it forward. He has a pop as well. Was always rolling a cleaver, but it is some of what Lukovic can provide. The ball progression and the ability to run through traffic. Philip Mayaka is one of the better ball winners in the league, and just bypassed him like it was nothing. From there, just didn't get the final product right, but it's better out of midfield from the Cosmos. Davide Corti has spoken about Frankie Lukovic's ability to receive and play in tight spaces. That was on full display moments ago. Mayaka. Dengler plays this forward. Fell for Moon, but Moon was offside. Well, so far so good for this Cosmos back line, and that's a welcome sight. Of course, this is a Cosmos side that has won just one of its last 11 league matches. Been outscored 25-8 in that span, and it is a league worst 36 goals allowed. Before the Westchester match, though, you did see an uptick in their defensive performance. It was 1 goal conceded over the prior 3 with a pair of clean sheets mixed in. Of course, the Westchester match was the game in which they conceded early and then got caught out twice late. It's not a performance Davide Corti felt in which they deserved to concede 3 goals by any means. Gasso lofts this wide. Ricketts. Mayaka taking the space. Cruel. Bodily. It's a menacing cross. Nearly fell for Cruel, and instead Marsh muscles him away. Mayaka was there to at least disrupt. Wonder if there's any plot twists on the cards before intermission here. Cosmos have been on the back foot. They've absorbed plenty of pressure, but they've limited the chance quality from Boise. They themselves, though, have yet to truly trouble Cleaver despite their pair of shots on frame. Conchauna and company change that here. Moon away. Immediately Mendonca sliding in. Nate Miller animated as ever on the touchline. He's someone that's incredibly vocal about his expectations. His standards are incredibly high. He asks a lot of every player on the pitch, including his goalkeeper, in regards to building out from the back. He's someone who's also very honest with his group, and someone that his key players have loved to play for. So much so that they've rejoined him for second and third stints under his leadership when he took the Boise job. Dengler. Flicked along by Ricketts. No one there to greet it before it reaches Stefani. Now into the final minute of the initial 45. Mayaka. Hearing word that there might not be a single added minute of added time. This may be one of the final sojourns forward, and Jauna does well to negotiate around Krul. Inside to Spangler. Gwenzati poked away, falls for Marsh. Drags it wide. Best chance of the match to date, though, for the Cosmos. It's well done here. Spangler into the pocket, falls kindly for Marsh, who just drives it wide of that far post. It is a real chance, and Cleaver was on an island. And that will take us in intermission. So nothing to separate these two squads. Boise's been on the front foot, but nothing to show for it in the final third. An obdurate Cosmos display that has been accompanied by a few half chances to raise the eyebrows of the home faithful. Well, at intermission, there is no score in this first ever meeting between New York Cosmos and AC Boise. A eventful first half in which half chances were littered across the opening 45, but very few glaring opportunities for either of these squads. We'll step aside when we return. A look around at USL League One. We welcome you back to the tri-state area where at halftime there is nothing to separate New York Cosmos and AC Boise. Well, it's now time to take a look around USL League One with a look at the future stadiums and the stadiums that have been constructed in the league.
They are more than shiny and new. The latest collection of brand new stadiums in USL are a commitment to communities. Fans in Boise have set attendance records. Finishing touches greet the fans in Fort Wayne weekly. In Greenville, Triumph fans are in love with their permanent new home. These projects take time and patience, but nothing gets a community excited like seeing a shovel in the ground. Detroit City of the USL Championship has gone from dreams to renderings to construction. At its recent groundbreaking in Southwest Detroit, Alumni Phi Stadium became a vision for the very near future.
We've been incredibly fortunate to create something that's way bigger than us, and that we have the great fortune of being stewards of it. And the stadium represents really an investment in that community an investment in this neighborhood, a tremendous investment in the city, and something that will be around for generations to come.
With this stadium, the club is investing in its future and demonstrating a long-term commitment to building a sustainable, community-driven club. I'm excited for what the future holds for Detroit City. I can't wait to be back here for the opening match in 2028. And I want to say congratulations to the fans, supporters, ownership group, and the entire community that made this amazing new home possible.
At 15,000 seats, Alumni Fi raises the bar for Detroit City. Soon there will be more groundbreakings and sounds of stadium construction as USL gets closer to the launch of Premier. In the middle of the 2026 World Cup, Carlos Lamosa is focused on something else. The head coach of San Antonio FC is navigating his club through the midway point of the USL Championship season. But nearly a quarter century ago, the World Cup was Lamosa's dream come true.
Well, that was a unique experience for many reasons. First, that was the first World Cup of the century. That was the first time the World Cup happens in two different countries. And that was the first time that happens in Asia.
The 2002 World Cup is to date the best performance by the U.S. men's national team. A stunning victory over Portugal in the group stage. A shutout of arch rival Mexico in the round of 16, with South Korea's 13-hour time difference to U.S. Eastern Time. Americans had to be creative for live overnight matches. Bars were open at 4 in the morning making breakfast for your matches. Were you aware of all of that at the time?
We found out being there in Korea. They show us videos of footage from TV networks, having a watching party 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Also for me, I have Colombian news going to my parents' house in Colombia in the middle of the night to do interviews when we were playing live.
In 2026, the World Cup includes more than 40 players whose careers were touched by different levels of USL. Lamosa now has a seat to watching players chase their own World Cup dreams.
Here from our academy from San Antonio, we have a player representing the U.S. on the U17 qualifier. That's a very important league in the U.S. soccer developmental program.
Pero falta gol, estamos a esperar a un gol. ¿Hugo Sánchez? Sí, tira para adelante. ¿Quién maneja? ¿Un futbolista? ¡Llegamos por fin! ¡Ay, bendito sea el chapar, doctor! Hugo, ¿regreso a las canchas? ¿Algún consejo?
Sí, confía y cree en ti.
¡Ey! ¡Pasa al norte! A donde me dé la oportunidad, pero listo para dar el paso. ¡Listo, vamos! ¡Vamos!
You ever just look at them and think, yeah, I'm doing all right.
This summer, get 1,000 bonus points and a chance to win 250,000 bonus points.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Prinks tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines, from early mornings to late nights. From fun with friends to winner takes all. From the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks tires will be there for the long haul.
Welcome back to Patterson, where at halftime there is no score in this expansion club showdown between the Cosmos and AC Boise. And now it's time to continue our look around USL League One with our out-of-town scores. A number of standout fixtures. Right now, Charlotte Independence 1-0 to the good over Richmond Kickers. Meanwhile, Madison with a halftime advantage. AC Boise's top 4 foes with the advantage. And then later on tonight, we conclude our busy Saturday of fixtures with AV Alta hosting Westchester, the Cosmos' regional rivals. Well, as we continue our look around the league, it is now time for our upcoming schedule. You see Spokane taking on Fort Wayne as well. Well, now it's time to continue our look around League One with our halftime update. Dan Lucas has more.
It is halftime in League One. We hope you're enjoying the match. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with a look at the headlines. No club had a better week last week than the Chattanooga Red Wolves, who notched a pair of victories over top 4 teams in League One. It began with a 1-0 victory over AV Alta and finished with a big 4-2 win over Charlotte Independence, ending Charlotte's run of 14 straight matches without a defeat in all competitions. Fort Wayne FC staged a beautiful tribute to the late John Bellio, one of the club's co-founders. Bellio lost his battle with cancer in 2025. To honor Bellio, Fort Wayne will make this night an annual event, with proceeds going to Cancer Services of Northeast Indiana. On the field, Fort Wayne defeated Greenville Triumph 3-0, and a late substitution featured 16-year-old Johnny I. At 16 years, 12 days old, I is the youngest player to see game action for an independent League One club. National Spotlight games in League One and the Championship next Saturday. Tampa Bay Rowdies hosting Louisville City on ESPN2. August 5th, Richmond Kickers hosting New York Cosmos on CBS SN. Then on the 8th, Monterey Bay host New Mexico United on CBS SN. This is the USL Halftime Update. Let's get you back out to your match.
I'm Bree, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम चांद है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ion Bank.
हम तजिंदर कौर ਅਸੀਂ ਆਇਨ ਬੈਂਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
Eu sou Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
I am Ion.
Welcome back to Hinchliffe Stadium, where at halftime there is no score in this battle of newcomers to USL League One. Cosmos and AC Boise locked at 0-0. And now it's time to take a look back at a first half that was more eventful than the scoreline indicates, especially on the Boise side of things. Boise on the front foot early and often. This Blake Bodley cross with plenty of dip and menace across the entire face of goal. Stefani doesn't do well enough with it, and he's very fortunate there's not another player in purple there lingering. But there were moments on the opposite end of things, half chances of sorts for Ashmere Spengler and company. This deflected effort, at least drawing Jonathan Cleaver into action and keeping the Boise back line busy. There were moments where there were possible opportunities for the Cosmos, but ultimately it was just more chances for Boise. This moon header across the face just doesn't dip inside the frame. A good ball there from Moshe Bond to stretch this Cosmos backline that found itself chasing it for large spells. Before halftime, though, this moment did jump out. Ashmere Spengler kick-starting a move that did fall to Siobhan Marsh's feet, and he just drove it wide, and then one further opportunity beyond that. This, though, was their best chance of the match. Gwenzati occupying the center backs, and ultimately, Marsh can't put it on target. All in all, though, it is Boise on the front foot. 65% of the ball, more shots than their opposition, but the only 2 shots on frame going the way of the Cosmos. It's an interesting game of cat and mouse so far through this first half of play. And what's not shown here, the XG disparity, Boise 0.53, Cosmos 0.18. So there is an advantage for the visitors, but they have yet to test the goalkeeper Tristan Stefani. Just about ready to get everything back underway. Boise looking to continue their run of winning form. 4 wins in 5 entering the night. They have a chance, if all breaks right, to pave inroads toward the top 4. In fact, if they were to win, they would go above Forward Madison and climb into 4th. Now that assumes all results hold. Meanwhile, the Cosmos right now just looking to make some noise and get back in the win column. It would be a major surprise if they could pull it off. There is a change for the New York Cosmos. Will Noaker is vacating. He's replaced by Michael Chilaka, the new signing who joined New York officially on Thursday. Someone with 2 years of League One experience with Forward Madison. So a welcome back to League One for Michael Chilaka, who did spend the second half of the 25-26 season in his native Israel, the second tier of Israeli football with Maccabi Jaffa FC. He now returns to USL League One, his 3rd consecutive season as a member of the division. So that's the lone change at halftime. Chilaka listed center back for Will Noaker, a fullback. We will see how that affects the shape for New York Cosmos. Now with 3 out-and-out center backs on the pitch, perhaps a shift to a 3 or 5 setup, if that is what Davide Corti desires. It will be the Cosmos getting us back underway. Now from right to left on your screen, Boise from left to right. We just await our lead official, Braden Frey's signal to resume the action here at Hinchliffe Stadium. Will it be Boise capitalizing on their dominance, or will it be the Cosmos springing the ultimate surprise this weekend? We are back underway here from Paterson, New Jersey. Still all to play for between these 2 entities. Sam Goldfarb taking you the remainder of the night. We thank you for joining us from North Jersey in the tri-state area. It's been a fun one so far, and one with plenty of intrigue with Boise on the front foot, but the Cosmos at least keeping them honest the other direction. Does have the feeling that there is a goal in this. It's a question, though, of whether either side can break through and take their chances. Krull involved going forward as per usual in the first half. He's now playing against his former backline counterpart in Michael Chilaka. The 2 of them paired on the back 3 for large spells at Forward Madison a season ago. Lukovic, one of New York's better chances of the match in that first half. The long-range effort that was wide of Jonathan Cleaver's net. What will be interesting is seeing how the Cosmos try and get their attacking presences more involved. Siobhan Marsh, someone who scored in back-to-back matches before missing Wednesday night's contest with a minor injury, is someone who only had 3 touches of the ball in terms of passes in the first half. just had few chances to run at this Boise back line, and part of that's a byproduct of how long they've spent without the ball, but part of that is an inability to connect the lines that has plagued them all month. In emphasizing their defense, perhaps they've compromised some of their attack. There was a foul given. It appears the whistle sounded against Boise. Lukovic. Spengler driving this forward towards Siobhan Marsh, who latches onto it but is offside. May have had a 1v1 opportunity beckoning, but Yarrow held the line well. If there is anyone who would find the back of the net, though, it would be 91 in green, the lone man to score this month across the board for New York Cosmos. Someone, of course, who made a name for himself in his 2 seasons with Chattanooga. But this is turned over, and the ball from Guenzati just behind Marsh. Cheap giveaway out of the back that, on a different night, may come back to sting Nate Miller's group. Mayaka. Gasso. Far more playing time than he experienced at Detroit City, and his confidence has blossomed as a result. Mo Shaban. Forced wide by Holt. Gasso, first time ball in, it's looping, but looping right to Stefani. Didn't put a foot wrong in that first half, Tristan Stefani. Product of Fordham University, who did impress, ended his career top 10 in program history in goals against average, clean sheets, and matches started. Someone who has roots in the Northeast, spent time with the Revolution Academy back in the day, and grew up in Norfolk, Massachusetts. It's not too far to travel around the New York City area. Lukovic. And Mayaka have been engaged in an enticing battle all night. Mendonca. Lukovic looking to break a line. Instead, he plays it right into the path of Jake Krull. In many ways, games like this are an exercise in patience for AC Boise. Is a squad that is used to playing against low blocks, and oddly enough, has experience playing through them. One of the more efficient teams in terms of XG per 75 passes. It's turned over. Now Jauna, the other direction for Cosmos. Lamine Jauna has a pop. Jake Dengler in the way, though. Always seems to position himself properly, Jake Dengler. Holt. Morabito. Marsh. Starting to get him on it more than they did in the first successfully. Spengler. Looking direct towards Marsh. Was onside on that occasion, but couldn't take it down out of the sky. There is that touch of directness, though, that Davide Corti has encouraged from his group. Early in the year, with the personnel he had on the flanks, there was a lot of talk about playing the feet. Christian Kofi was the primary player they looked to do that with, just due to his sheer 1v1 prowess. Now in Kofi's absence, someone who's missed now 10 of the last 11 fixtures with nagging injury issues, and with the introductions of the likes of Siobhan Marsh and Lamine Jauna, who are better at running in behind, there's been more emphasis on going direct, and now Boise goes direct, and among down in the area, the referee has pointed to the spot. And a golden opportunity for Boise to open the scoring from 12 yards. Yellow card as well. shown to Jordan Chavez. It's a costly error here. They let Among in behind. It is a blatant penalty. There's not a lot in this, but Chavez is wrong side of Among and shoves him from behind. This is indubitably a spot kick. There's still some concern for Thomas Among, who is still prone on the pitch. As of now, though, it appears Blake Bodley will step up to take it. Someone who's shown of light for AC Boise, and this is the last sight the Boise faithful would like to see. Already dealing with a nagging injury to Luan Brito, their other option at number 9. Thomas Among is someone with arguably the most pedigree in the squad in terms of his success in USL Championship and otherwise. Someone who scored 31 goals in 111 USL Championship apps, most recently featuring for New Mexico United. Gingerly back to his feet as he grips his wrist. Well, this gives Boise a real chance to open the scoring from 12 yards. Their go-to penalty taker, Luan Brito, not in the squad. So as of now, it seems to be an ongoing debate between Philip Mayaka and Blake Bodley. And it will be the latter who will take this. Native of Eagle, Idaho, the hometown boy looking to buoy Boise in front. It is Bodley who stares down Tristan Stefani. Long run up, and he dispatches. 1-0 to Boise, Bodley making the difference. Oh, it's a clear penalty, and Bodley coolly sends Stefani the wrong way and slots it into the bottom left corner. Just a textbook penalty. Does well to throw off the goalkeeper and places it perfectly. And Blake Bodley, his second league goal in as many fixtures, pushes his hometown club in front. Well, he is one of the 5 players with experience under Nate Miller's tutelage with San Diego Loyal, and someone with plenty of championship pedigree. And now he's carried that over to USL League One, and after bagging the equalizer last Friday night, he pushes Boise in front from the penalty spot on 54 minutes. Boise 1, Cosmos 0. He's someone who flourished under Nate Miller. 32 league appearances with San Diego Loyal in 2023, and he produced 14 goal contributions, 5 goals, 9 assists. Since then, you've seen his ups and downs in the final third, more used to playing a wing-back role to his credit. Now as he's pushed further forward, he scores a striker's goal from the penalty spot. After Among wins it, Bodley takes it. He signed with Portland Timbers out of college, experience across the top 3 levels of the U.S. pyramid. He's given Boise that desperately craved layer of separation. Now you have to wonder what Cosmos' response is, because they've spent so much of this game chasing it and defending in a low block. At a certain point, they'll have to come out of their shell and be more expansive. Problem is, you do that and you face the same fate you experienced against Westchester earlier in the week, when you're leaving yourself susceptible to the counter. So you wonder what they learned on film from that fixture in the midweek and how they can apply it here against a team that is a little more prolific in the final third than Westchester, at least on average. Just on paper, Westchester themselves outscoring Boise, albeit narrowly, but their production fluctuates a touch more. Spengler. Chilaka, his first proper touch, and now Jauna. Nick Moon wins that wrestling match. Nate Miller's been pretty vocal about being a slightly more defensive-oriented side away from home, especially in positions like this. He said he's not worried about his side's ability to create or score. It is a squad that rarely is blanked in league play. In fact, that has happened just twice all season. In a fixture where they found it tight to create direct chances, do win a penalty, and Blake Bodley converts. This fits the bill of the 1-0 results. Nate Miller says he hopes his side prides themselves on in away fixtures in the second half of the season. Well, his fortunes have benefited considerably from that well-taken penalty by Blake Bodley, but he's someone who will remain animated until the final whistle sounds. Prides himself on his team's ability to play a very free-flowing, fluid style. He's not very strict about his players' positioning in possession. It's just a question of being defensively sound when they turn it over. And so far tonight, they've towed that balance well. Now Dangler looking long. It's Bodley who falls, and now Among sticking with it. Mo Shaban on a Ricketts across the face. Holt was in the way. And for now, the Cosmos can clear their lines. If this result were to hold, it would be a major boost in Boise's chase for a home playoff match. It would power them to 4th in the table. Now, granted, multiple teams below them have a match or two in hand on them, and Fort Madison has 3 matches in hand on them. So there is opportunity for some of their top 8 rivals to make up ground. This would be a big result on the road for a squad that has struggled to produce them this year. Ricketts keeps this in play. Mo Shaban is fouled after the fact, to the chagrin of the 18-year-old Massimo Morabito. Plenty to ponder for Davide Corti in this final half hour. His bunch falling behind on a penalty in a match where they've been pretty defensively secure. And now they have to avoid going 2-0 down or it's all wraps. In-swinger from Bodley to the back post. Popped up in the air, headed on and headed in. Jake Krull doubling the lead for Boise, and he may have just put it out of reach for the hosts. Two goals in 6 minutes, and the Boise buzzsaw is up and running. It just arcs into the quarter of uncertainty, and Krull is first to it. No one there challenging for the second ball. It is a goal that Davide Corti will be incredibly disappointed with, because no one in green even high points this. Krull first to it, dispatches, and puts it potentially out of reach for the home side. Well, he is an unlikely provider of the second goal, but he provides it nonetheless. Jake Krull, a first league goal in Boise colors, the League One veteran, opening his account in league play for the visitors. Someone who's established himself as a fixture in that left center back role, and on appearance 168 of his USL League One career, he bags his 7th league goal. Someone who's played for FC Tucson, Ford Madison, and now AC Boise, and has established himself as a regular starter at each stop. A big moment for Jake Krull and a big moment for Boise, because now the Cosmos must chase it. Well, fans, soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Right now, the fans that have occupied Hinchliffe Stadium maybe thrilled with their seats, but probably not thrilled with the way this match has unfolded. A pair of goals in a 6-minute span, a penalty from Blake Bodley, and then a towering header from Jake Krull, separating Boise and the Cosmos. And as of now, the visitors on their way to claiming a top 4 spot come evening's end. Now Mo Shaban hunts more carnage, shakes off Mendonca. And this could all open up now for the visitors. Moon. Mo Shaban again. Clever touch from Ricketts, but Holt was there to get in the way. Space for Marsh to roam the other direction. And immediately broken up by Gasso. And at this point, Davide Corti's men can't afford to think about their defensive structure as much. It is about chasing this, and that is where they may leave themselves exposed on the counter. You just wonder what substitutions Coach Corti may have up his sleeve for a situation like this. They have the direct wingers required. But right now, there's still been a disconnect between their attacking trio and the players in behind. Jauna, Guenzati, turns wide. Spengler, drop of the shoulder. Bito has to chase. Chilaka, Lukovic. Weird touch in the area for the Cosmos. He's looking to carve out space. Krull makes himself an obstacle though. And Dangler looking long. We're hearing word that Boise is preparing a pair of changes on the front line. It will be Bodley and Among who both depart. In their stead, we're hearing Dennis Kostashin and Jesus Barea, the new loanee from Real Salt Lake, will replace them. Marsh. Forward ball that does reach Guenzati in the end. Cross cut out well by Dangler. Now the changes will take place. So Jesus Barea reuniting with Nate Miller from his time with Real Salt Lake. He now joins on loan here for the remainder of the 2026 season and debuts. Meanwhile, Dennis Kostashin, someone who's been a mainstay in the 11 for the bulk of the year, making an appearance off the subs bench in place of Thomas Among. That heightened competition on the front line, keeping everyone sharp and keeping everyone performing at their best. So Among out for Barea, Bodley off for Kostashin. Hoping Dennis Kostashin can rediscover his goal-scoring form. No goals or assists in the last 7 matches after a flying start to the year that at one point saw him ranked joint top of the league in goals. Scored just once in league play though since April 18th. That 4-0 drubbing of Westchester in which he scored a brace. As a result, it's opened the door for Among and Bodley to carve out starting roles tonight. Well, Jesus Barea has been something of a goal-scoring machine in the MLS Next Pro ranks when he's featured for Real Monarchs. Scored 14 goals across the regular and postseason a year ago. This past year, though, falling out of the regular first-team fold and hoping to revitalize his pro pursuits with Boise under a familiar leader's tutelage. Spengler plays this vertically towards Marsh, and Cleaver off his line and winning the foot race. Marsh may have been in an offside position anyways. Holt. Guenzati. Wide to Jauna. Still yet to impose his influence, but he gets to the byline. It's an appetizing cross, but no one there to meet it. Morabito. Spengler. Morabito continues his run. Kostishin doing his defensive duties well. New York is now readying a change as well. We're hearing that Massimo Morabito will exit for Tino Puentes. That's been a common change Davide Corti's gone to in the second half of league matches. Moon. Nearly turns it over here. Now he's fouled by Spengler. Well, the change will take place now, so it is the end of Massimo Morabito's night. And it is a like-for-like change at fullback that is coming reasonably shortly. Haven't waved the subs on just yet. Ricketts. Mayaka. Moshaban. Barea's first touch. Can't pick out Kostishin there. It's turned over to Ricketts. Moshaban slips in behind. Moshaban looking for an angle. Just left it dangling. It was a really good move to bypass two defenders. Cleaver. Flick on header towards Barea. The question is he onside? And the answer is no. And now that change will take place. So Morabito's night comes to a conclusion, and Tino Puentes is his replacement, the Garwood, New Jersey native. It's appearance number 12 of his League One career. It's like his first pro contract after impressing in USL League Two with Morris Elite the last 2 years. Still hoping to carve out a more frequent role in the lineup as the year progresses. Moshaban. Moon. Fouled by Lukovic. Well, fans, Ion Bank is trusted, local, and always on your team. Whatever your personal or business banking goals, we're here to help you reach them. Discover the power of community banking and see what Ion Bank can do for you. IonBank.com. Final 20 minutes here from Paterson, New Jersey, and in a blank, AC Boise with a 2-0 cushion. Blake Bodley from the penalty spot on 54 minutes, and 6 minutes later, Jake Kroll on a second ball free header, doubling the advantage. And a Boise side that has been the protagonists all evening, rewarded for their dominance as things stand. It would be a 5th win in the last 6 across all competitions on a night where they have been the better across the board. Maybe not their sharpest performance in the attacking third, but certainly a clinical one in terms of the chances they've created and finished. Barea. And now Kostishin. Ricketts. Mayaka links well with Yarrow, who continues to venture forward. Kostishin again. Yarrow continues his run. Very far forward from center back. Kostishin, cross into the back post, just beyond the reach of Moshaban and into the gloves of Stefani. It's all opening up now as Cosmos have to throw resources at the problem. Spengler. Puentes, his first touch in an advanced position. Has been a Cosmos side that has lacked answers at left back tonight. Nestor Cabrera has been the go-to with Morabito on the right, but with Cabrera injured, we've had to resort to Morabito on the left for large spells, and now Puentes filling that void. It's been the biggest question mark Davide Corti felt his side would have to address entering the evening. Lukovic Fuentes. Progressive ball forward. Along to Guenzati. It's a loose back pass, and it's one that's pounced upon. Berea is fouled by Tino Fuentes. Well, fans, can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM-FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus your live matches in the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM-FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Ricketts. Mayaka. Boise starting to get very comfortable in possession. It was a rare misplaced pass, though, from Mayaka. Guenzati. Just Dangler flaunting his physical capabilities. That is that proactive defending that has characterized his play all season. Yarrow. Ricketts. Now so much space for Boise to operate in. Pinged over the top to Moon. Everything is now stretched for the home side. Spengler tripped up. And a yellow card shown in the direction of Dom Gasso. First Boise man in the book this evening. And it is their number 8. It's a textbook yellow here. Comes in from behind, studs on the Achilles area of Spengler. And he immediately accepts the yellow card shown in his direction. He is someone that Nate Miller has been very pleased with. Brought in after spending the first 4 seasons of his pro career with Detroit City, and he struggled to carve out a consistent role in the championship. But Nate Miller's spoken about his raw tools, someone who not only can win the ball and cover acres of space every match, but he's also someone who can play a vertical and progressive pass. And as a result, he's worked his way into the regular lineup of late. It's now a 5th consecutive start across all competitions. He showed no signs of forfeiting that starting center midfield role alongside Mayaka. Where's Mo Shaban? Holt in some trouble. Kostashin. Berea. Spengler. It's just those return balls that have not been accurate enough for Boise, for Cosmos. And Dangler was sent to the deck.
Saturday, August 8th, as the Cosmos take on Spokane Velocity FC at 7 p.m. in the League One matchup. Secure your seats today by visiting tickets at NYCosmos.com.
Kostashin. Mo Shaban. Moon. Inside the final quarter of an hour, and barring a Boise collapse, they will cruise to a 5th victory in the last 6. Kostashin picking up that pocket in the half space. And he fouls Chavez. Well, fans, William Patterson University is proud to be the official university partner of the New York Cosmos. We're a powerhouse in business education and the #1 producer of MBAs in New Jersey. Explore our wide range of undergraduate programs at WPUNJ.edu. New York Cosmos still trail 2-0, desperate for a lifeline. Cross in from Jauna. Comes loose to Mendonca. Spengler. Marsh. Shoved to the deck by Yarrow. Our referee's unmoved by that challenge, though. Spengler once more. Wide for Chilaka, who joins the attack. Hudson stabbed away to Kostashin. And Mayaka out of danger. As of now, the New York Cosmos still grappling with that massive goal drought. It was around 210 minutes entering the night. We're now inching towards 290. The last goal they scored came in that 1-0 victory over FC Naples on this very ground. In league play, that is. The last goal they scored overall was on the hour mark in the Prinks Tires USL Cup, and they've not found the back of the net since. And now they make a triple change, or prepare one, in order to combat that. We're hearing Zelenka, Milovanov, and Patrick Bowie are all about to enter the action. Ricketts. Kostashin on the turn. Kostashin looks for an angle, forces a strong save out of Stefani, and a positive involvement from the substitute. Dennis Kostashin always dangerous when he picks it up in the pockets, and he does that here. Asks real questions of the Cosmos back line, just rides the challenge of Tino Puentes, and then lashes at it. And it looks like Stefani had it covered the whole way. But it's an effort that had plenty of pace to it. So double change for Boise. It is Mo Shaban and Dominic Gasso who make way for Omar Yaya and Charlie Adams. Adams is back amongst the squad and back amongst the rotation after missing the last 4 matches with a lower body injury. Meanwhile, as previously mentioned, the likes of Patrick Bowie and Nick Zelenka are getting set to enter. We're still waiting on those changes to take effect. For that, the corner. And it's an outswinger from Adams. It's headed away to Kostashin. Kroll. Spengler there to intervene on the cross. Kostashin, though, negotiating through traffic. And loses his footing. Mendonca the other direction. Arched forward towards Jauna. This may be one of his final involvements. Right now, the Cosmos are just second to every first and second ball. It's been the unfortunate theme that has contributed to Boise's dominance. So it will be 2. That will come on for the Cosmos. The Patrick Bowie substitution will have to wait. It is Zelenka. One of the 2 that will enter. In addition to that, Milovanov is getting set to check in for Mendonca and Jauna. Those are pretty positionally identical swaps. Chavez. Here is Mendonca. Inside the final 10 minutes now. And the Cosmos staring at yet another league defeat, unless they can turn it around in dramatic fashion. Stefani under pressure. Guenzati. He is fouled by Dengler. So the 2 changes will take place. It is Justin Milovanov and Nick Zelonka, who enter the fray. Lamine Jauna and Nick Mendonca are the two that make way. Davide Corti just searches for inspiration through fresh legs. Nick Zelonka is someone who had started pretty frequently in the previous month or so. Started 5 of 8 matches at one point before he returned to the subs bench, and then did start on Wednesday night. And it was a frustrating performance for him. At one point, after the Cosmos went 1-0 down, he had a chance to put them on level terms and instead opted to try and square it across the face of goal. That a decision Davide Corti described as the wrong one, and is hoping for Zelonka to be a little more selfish going forward here. Here's the first touch, but Nick Moon is there to intervene. We'll see what Zelonka can cook up in the dying embers of this. Moon gave it away briefly. Mayaka positions himself well. Ricketts. He's been involved going forward all night. Yeah, battling for this, as is Berea. Finally, patched into the night sky by Chilaka. There's Milovanov's first touch. Marquette University product. If this holds, it is due to be another disappointing result for the Cosmos. It would make it just 1 win in the last 12 across league play. And also be yet another match in which they've been hit for multiple goals. A league worst 38 goals allowed, the bulk of which have occurred out of open play. The irony tonight is neither of them occurred out of open play this evening. It is a Cosmos squad that is countered on frequently, but has actually handled that scenario well. And now another change for Boise. It is Nick Moon who will exit to a deserved ovation from his teammates. Musa Enye replaces him. A graduate of Virginia Commonwealth University, who's played anywhere from wing back to center back to defensive midfield. And it seems he will fill in at left wing back as Boise draws this match to a conclusion. Marsh. High line of confrontation from Yarrow. Supposed to negotiate out of it decently. Lukovic. Spengler is the most influential player on the night for the Cosmos, but his influence, as of now, unable to contribute a goal. Something that has eluded them for nearly 300 minutes at this point. Zelonka. Spengler in the half space. Just too many purple shirts around him once more. It's been the familiar story of the night. Marsh. Stepping onto it in a more creative role. Chilaka. Marsh once more. Marsh has a crack, took an awkward deflection, sails out of play for a rare Cosmos corner. It is their first of the evening. Kashmir Spengler has been the go-to all season from dead ball situations. What can he conjure here? An in-swinger and is headed away by Josh Yarrow. Perhaps a chance to counter the other way for Boise. Kostashin with fresh legs and charging at the back line. Out wide for Yaya. Omar Yaya in space, cuts it back to Kostashin. And now falls for Ricketts. Mayaka. Both thought about having a rip. Instead, it's out wide to Kostashin. becomes a game management situation now for Boise. Fans watch the USL Championship and League One on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to uslchampionship.com or uslleague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. All part of the expanded platform the USL is receiving over the last few years. New York Cosmos will be on CBS soon. Here's Marsh, deflected effort, and the follow-up blazed over by Guenzati. That their best opportunity, and it goes by the wayside. We see Marsh pick it up and just drive into the half space, and it fell kindly for Guenzati, but he's unable to keep it down, and Cleaver spared any trouble. As we were saying, the New York Cosmos will be on national television on August 5th at Richmond Kickers, one of the storied clubs in USL League One and storied clubs in American soccer, one of the longest tenured, continuously operating clubs in American football in the Kickers. The Cosmos themselves, of course, a club with proud history. This is the third iteration of their existence. Of course, best known for their first iteration, which featured Pelé and Franz Beckenbauer. Spengler, closing stages now. Zelonka, looking for a source of inspiration. It's not the best return ball from Guenzati. Kostic in the other direction with room to roam. And he plays it in as Yaya. Omar Yaya's cross. Fortunately for Stefani, right into his hands. Fuentes. That's a well-weighted ball. And this is Zelonka. Right at Cleaver, though. Much better, though, from the Cosmos as they hunt a long-awaited conclusion to this goal drought. Yeah, the other direction. And Stefani just barely wins that race. It is a goal drought that has hit now 300 minutes across all competitions for the Cosmos. As we inch towards added time, it will take 2 goals in rapid succession to salvage anything from this. Spengler left without any options. Milovanov. Chilaka. Zelonka once more. Spengler has a crack. Always wide, though. It's not a bad effort from Ajmer Spengler. Certainly audacious, but it's one he doesn't put on frame, and it's one that Cleaver can comfortably watch sail well wide of his near post. And it is now 5 minutes that separate Boise from a 5th win in the last 6 games across all comps. A squad that has now outscored opponents 9-3 in the last 6 games. It's a team that hasn't always taken its chances effectively. It's still performing under its XG for the season, but here tonight they have done so, and they have overperformed their XG for the night by nearly half a goal. Spengler. Marsh. Does well to drag Yarrow out of position. Guenzati back for Siobhan Marsh. Rolls to Cleaver. If this holds, it sets the stage well for a midweek road trip for Boise to Greenville. A squad that has to remain on the East Coast before returning home for their 3rd match in an 8-day span next Saturday against Corpus Christi. Nate Miller has challenged his squad to produce a 9-point week. As things stand, they're on their way to achieving 3 of those with little trouble. At the moment, in the live table, 4th in USL League One, and Nate Miller's spoken about the importance of finishing in the top 4. says that we can play to our full potential at home in front of our home fans on a surface we're familiar with. And so as a result, it has been their stated goal to finish at least inside the top 4, to have at least one playoff match on home soil to minimize the amount of travel, as well as game planning for a new surface and alteration to their game model as possible in the postseason. A long way to accomplish that goal, but their performances of late, they look like they're hitting their stride at the right time. Mayaka. Kostashin. Can they end it with an exclamation point? Sends 2 for a ride. And continuing on, yeah. Cruel, one of the 2 goal scorers tonight. Saw that drop moments ago. Now no goals in 304 plus minutes across all competitions for the Cosmos. The night comes to a conclusion. That count will tick to 307. Meanwhile, for the Cosmos, they do have a full week, in fact, over a week, to debrief from this one. Their next match is that road fixture on national television at Richmond. And that is a match they would enter feeling they have a chance to win. The Richmond Kickers side that is just 1 spot above them and 1 point above them in the league table at the moment. 2 struggling squads. Chilaka. Final 90 seconds of the added 5. Milovanov. Chavez. Unceremoniously back Boise's way. For the Cosmos, they've struggled so much in the first 15 minutes of the second half, and tonight those woes continue. It was a league-high 7 goals between the 45th and 60th minutes. They've added 2 to that tally in the form of Bodiley's penalty and Cruel's would-be dagger. So now a league-worst 9 goals in the first 15 minutes after the restart. So many matches they've been competitive and then let it slip in that window, and tonight no different. This likely one of their final forays forward. Spengler charges it inside to Guenzati, who does break the goal drought. And there is a late lifeline for the Cosmos. Their talisman up top slaps it into the back of the net. And now the question is there time for 1 further tally? This is sensational interplay that starts with Frankie Lukovic, and then a 1-2 that slips into the path of Guenzati, and that is a clinical finish from a player with nearly a decade of USL Championship experience. It is a goal of the week contender for its interplay. Unfortunately for the Cosmos, it may have been too little too late. It is goal 5 on the year for Guenzati, and now it's a question of how much time remains. Ricketts. Lukovic, he kick-started the move that led to Guenzati's tally. And now the full-time whistle sounds. So it's too little too late for the Cosmos, but they do end the night on a high note. They fall 2-1 with goals courtesy of Blake Bodiley and Jake Cruel, but they do have something to smile about in the dying embers. All in all, Boise winners on the night, 5 wins in the last 6 across all comps, and as of now, climbing into the top 4. Still work to be done for Davide Corti's men. Well, that is where we leave things for now. We will take a quick breather here. When we return, a look back at another successful road trip for the Boise Bunch. Welcome back to Paterson, New Jersey, where it is a happy night for AC Boise once again. A 5th win in the last 6 across all competitions, and they prevail in 2-1 fashion over the New York Cosmos. Now time to get a look at our full-time highlights, and it is a fixture that was dominated from the get-go by Boise. And on 52 minutes, winning the decisive penalty that opened the scoring, a direct ball from Jake Tengler, and then Thomas Among shoved over in the penalty area by Jordan Chavez. It's no question a penalty. Even though there's not a lot in this, there is a shove, and he's wrong side of Among, who does well to sell it. Ultimately, that sets up Blake Bodley from 12 yards, and Blake Bodley did not make any mistakes from there. A long run up, but he slots it into the bottom left, sends Tristan Stefani the wrong direction, and puts Boise in front after 54 minutes of huffing and puffing. And 6 minutes later, it would go from good to better for Nate Miller's men, because after Bodley put them in front, Jake Krull would double the lead from a set piece. It's a well-delivered ball in which the Cosmos do not deal with it properly. They pop it up in the air, and Jake Krull is Johnny on the spot to head it home. It's poor set piece defending from the Cosmos. They don't clear it, and ultimately they don't scrap for the second ball. Krull, the beneficiary, he makes it 2-0 on the hour mark. There was late life from the Cosmos. They were able to break their goal drought in the dying embers, but that second goal from Krull proved to be the difference, because on 90+5, this lovely scintillating bit of interplay did provide the Cosmos supporters with something to cheer about. A 1-2 between Spengler and Guenzati breaks a goal drought that eclipsed 300 minutes moments prior. Lukovic into the mix, and then ultimately it is the 1-2 between Guenzati and Spengler that makes the difference, but it ultimately was too little, too late, because that, one of the final kicks of the fixture, and the Cosmos had to settle for yet another league defeat. You look at the full-time stats, the Cosmos actually an advantage in terms of shots and shots on goal, but the chance quality reasonably low, and they were outpossessed. The XG not shown here, but Boise nearly doubling them up, 0.85 to 1.54. While these numbers don't truly indicate how much Boise controlled the game, Boise did control the game, especially for the opening hour. And that is where we leave things here from Hinchliffe Stadium, where AC Boise prevails on the road once more. The Boise Bunch moves into the top 4 as things stand in USL League One. Meanwhile, the Cosmos crew in the cellar with plenty of work to do. For our terrific crew, I'm Sam Goldfarb saying so long, where Boise prevails in 2-1 fashion. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.